When you thought things could not get any worse, Napheesa Collier officially canceled the meeting with WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert.
So, this just got insane. Napheesa Collier has officially canceled her meeting with WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert, and this might blow up the entire 2026 season. Fans are saying this is the point of no return. The league's biggest star just told the commissioner, no thanks. Question for you. Do you think the WNBA can survive this? All right, let's talk about this disaster, because this might be the most chaotic week the WNBA has had in years. Napheesa Collier, MVP runner-up, Olympian, and union leader, has just pulled out of her planned meeting with Commissioner Cathy Engelbert. This meeting was supposed to be the moment where the two sides finally calmed things down after weeks of fighting. Instead, it's done. Gone. Over. And the reason? Pretty simple. Cathy Engelbert went on stage before Game 1 of the WNBA Finals and basically called Collier a liar on live TV.
Cathy Engelbert's meeting with Napheesa Collier has been canceled. Fee is pissed, livid about the rhetoric that Cathy Engelbert spewed on that podium before Game 1 of the WNBA Finals. It is looking like
that press conference was supposed to be about basketball, but nope. Engelbert decided to address what she called false reports. She said she never made the comments that Collier claimed she did, especially the now famous line about Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes money off the court. And boom, that was the moment everything fell apart. Because to Napheesa Collier, that wasn't just a denial. That was a flat-out public insult. You have to remember what Collier actually said a week earlier. She stood up and spoke out about how poorly the league is run, how bad the officiating has gotten, and how the players are being disrespected at every level. She wasn't just venting. She was laying out facts that every player has been complaining about for months.
That is negligence. At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Cathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league.
Then she shared her private conversation with Engelbert, where the commissioner allegedly said, only losers complain about refs, and that Caitlin Clark should be grateful for the platform the WNBA gives her.
Take a moment to address some important conversations happening across the WNBA, including remarks made earlier this week by Napheesa Collier. First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Napheesa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better. We know how great these players are on and off the court, how much they mean to our league, our fans, and our communities. If they don't feel that, I will do everything I can to change that. No one should ever doubt how deeply I care about this league, this game, and every single player who makes the WNBA what it is.
So when Engelbert came back and denied everything, on camera, in front of reporters, it was like she looked the players right in the eye and said, "You're making this up." That's not how you fix a league that's already barely holding itself together. And this wasn't just Collier getting offended. Every player in the league backed her. Sophie Cunningham spoke out. Breanna Stewart liked posts supporting her. Even Caitlin Clark, who usually avoids drama like the plague, said, "Fee made a lot of valid points." So when Engelbert denied it all, that wasn't just a PR move. That was career suicide. Now Collier's done talking. She officially canceled their meeting that was supposed to happen this week. Sources told ESPN the relationship between the two is beyond repair. That phrase alone should terrify the league, because Collier is not some random player. She's the vice president of the WNBA Players Association. That means if she's done with Engelbert, the whole union is done with Engelbert.
Like, we may not have a 2027 a 2026 WNBA season.
No trust means no talks. No talks mean no CBA deal. And no CBA deal means no season. That's where we are right now. And it's honestly wild how fast this escalated. Just 2 weeks ago, the league was celebrating its highest TV ratings ever. Caitlin Clark was the face of the future. Sponsors were lining up. Everyone was saying, this is the WNBA's moment. Now look where we are. One bad press conference, one angry player, and the whole thing might collapse before the 2026 season even starts. It's almost impressive how fast the WNBA manages to shoot itself in the foot. But let's be real. Collier had every reason to be mad. She put her career on the line by speaking out against the commissioner. That's not something players usually do. And instead of respecting that or meeting her halfway, Engelbert went into full defense mode like a corporate CEO trying to protect her stock price. Lots of inaccuracies out there, she said. You know, social media reporting. Right, because every time a player complains, it's just social media noise. That's the same tone she used last year when players complained about charter flights and schedule fatigue. She gave the same line, "We're looking into it." Translation: we don't care right now. That's the core of the problem. Engelbert runs the WNBA like a business report, not a sports league. Every answer sounds like it's straight from a PowerPoint presentation. Meanwhile, players are literally getting fined for saying the refs are bad and are begging for basic respect. So when Napheesa spoke out, she was basically saying what everyone else was too afraid to say. And that's why canceling this meeting is such a big deal. Because it shows she's done playing the PR game. She's telling the league, we're not doing this behind closed doors anymore. You lied about me publicly, so we're done. That's not just anger, that's strategy. Because think about what's coming next. The collective bargaining agreement is about to expire. That's the deal that sets salaries, benefits, and the revenue split. And the deadline is at the end of this month. The players and owners are supposed to be negotiating right now. And their lead negotiator just canceled her meeting with the commissioner. That's like calling off a peace talk 5 minutes before a war. And it gets worse. Because if the players don't sign a new deal by the deadline, the league automatically goes into lockout status. That means no one gets paid. No one can train at team facilities. Sponsors pull out. TV contracts get paused. Basically, everything stops. And with how bad things are between the players and Engelbert right now, a lockout is starting to look very real. ESPN literally quoted a source saying, players don't feel they can negotiate with her. So what happens next? Well, some people are saying Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, might have to step in and fire Cathy Engelbert just to save the league. That's how bad this has gotten. Because if Collier won't meet with her, no other player will. And if no player will, there is no CBA. And if there's no CBA, there is no 2026 season. It's that simple. Let's just call this what it is, a complete meltdown at the top. And it's not like this came out of nowhere. Players have been unhappy for months. We've seen Sophie Cunningham rant about leadership. We've seen Alyssa Thomas get ejected for questioning refs. We've even seen Elena Del Don retire without so much as a thank you from the league office. How does that happen? There are only 144 players in the WNBA, and you can't even send an email to a Hall of Famer? Come on, the players see that. They notice how little effort leadership shows toward them, and then they're told to be grateful. That's exactly why they're angry. And Napheesa Collier was the one who finally had the courage to say it out loud. But now, because she said it, we might not have a league at all next year. Think about how insane that is. A league that was just starting to grow again might completely collapse because the commissioner couldn't handle criticism and decided to correct the record on live television. You can't make this stuff up. And let's not ignore the timing either. This all happened right before the finals, the biggest stage of the season. Instead of talking about the Aces and the Mercury, every headline was about Cathy Engelbert versus Napheesa Collier. That's what you call a PR nightmare. And guess who gets blamed for it? The players. You just know the league office is going to turn around and say, this is why we can't increase salaries. Look at the bad press. It's always the same cycle. But the truth is, this is not a player problem. This is a leadership problem. The commissioner's job is to protect the league and its players. If you can't do both, you shouldn't have the job. And right now, Cathy Engelbert is failing at both. Now let's get into what this all means long-term, because this isn't just drama. This could decide whether the WNBA even has a 2026 season. Right now, both sides are locked in a silent standoff. The players are furious, the commissioner looks completely lost, and the owners are pretending everything's fine while praying the NBA steps in to clean up the mess. And you know who's in the middle of all this? Caitlin Clark. Because every decision, every argument, and every headline somehow comes back to her name. It's like she's the only player in the league that everyone, fans, owners, and players, can agree makes money. And that's the whole issue here. The WNBA finally found a breakout star who fills arenas, and instead of building around her, the league managed to turn her into a reason for chaos. Think about it. Cathy Engelbert should have been thanking her publicly, building campaigns around her, maybe even working out a TV deal centered on her matchups. But instead, she went and made her the center of a political war. Now Caitlin's name is being thrown around in every CBA conversation, and she hasn't said a single bad word about anyone. That's how messy this has become. And then there's Unrivaled, the off-season league founded by Napheesa Collier and Brianna Stewart. This might end up being the WNBA's biggest headache. Because if there's a lockout and the WNBA shuts down for a season, guess where all the top players are going? Straight to Unrivaled. It's already built to compete. They've got sponsors, gyms, and enough big names to run a solid product. So if the WNBA collapses even for a year, players won't be sitting at home. They'll be playing in a league owned by their own teammates. That's what makes this whole thing even more awkward. Because from the outside, it kind of looks like Collier benefits either way. If the WNBA gets its act together, she wins as a player. If it crashes, her new league becomes the alternative. You can call that smart business or a conflict of interest. Either way, Cathy Engelbert looks like she's losing control of the room. And let's be real, she's not built for this kind of chaos. She came from Deloitte, a corporate world where people say synergy and pipeline optimization. That's fine when you're balancing spreadsheets, but this is pro sports. You can't talk your way out of public beef with players who have millions of fans watching their every move. At this point, it feels like the players don't want reform. They want replacement. They want Engelbert gone. Fans online are already calling for Adam Silver to fire her before the new year. And honestly, that might be the only way this gets fixed. Because right now, every single problem, from ticket sales to officiating to player safety, all comes back to leadership. You can't expect trust from players when your commissioner's first move after criticism is to go on stage and say, actually, they're wrong. So yeah, Napheesa canceling that meeting was huge. It wasn't just personal, it was a message. It said, we're done being polite. And honestly, who can blame her? The players have tried everything. They've held meetings, spoken publicly, and even risked fines. The league's response? Denial and silence. The WNBA loves saying, we're growing the game. But how are you growing anything when your players feel ignored? Let's be honest. The only reason the league hasn't completely fallen apart yet is because the players keep saving it. The same athletes they underpay are the ones keeping it alive. Caitlin Clark brings in the fans, Angel Reese brings in headlines, Aja Wilson brings in championships. Meanwhile, the people running the league bring in bad press. If this keeps up, 2026 won't just be canceled. It might be the year the players take full control. And that's the part that should scare the WNBA office the most. Because if the players figure out they don't need the league to survive, it's over. They'll take their fan bases, their sponsors, and their star power and build something new. And the sad part? The fans lose too. Because for once, people were actually watching women's basketball again. The Caitlin Clark effect was real. The Fever were selling out arenas. Kids were buying jerseys. For the first time in years, it felt like momentum was building. And now, it's all slipping away because one executive couldn't handle being called out. If the league really cared about growth, they'd fire Engelbert tomorrow and start rebuilding relationships with players. Because right now, there's no coming back from this unless someone steps in fast. The CBA deadline is closing in. The union isn't talking, and the fans are watching the whole thing crumble in real time. So here we are, one canceled meeting away from a canceled season. Do you think Napheesa did the right thing by walking away? Or should she have met with Cathy anyway? Drop your thoughts below. I want to hear what you think. And if you're new here, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.